In a small town in Ohio, 28-year-old Emily had been married to her husband, Jake, for 5 years. They had a 2-year-old son and were expecting their second child. Emily worked part-time as a graphic designer, allowing her to spend more time at home, while Jake was a firefighter, often working long and unpredictable hours. Their marriage appeared stable, with both partners committed to their family and future. The modest colonial home they'd purchased 3 years ago sat on a quiet cul-de-sac in Millfield, where neighbors waved from their porches and children played freely in front yards. Emily had decorated each room with care, from the sunny yellow kitchen to the navy blue nursery waiting for their second child. Photos of their family adorned every wall, smiling faces at the lake, at Jake's fire department picnics, and holding their son Ethan on the day he was born. "I don't know how you do it all," her friend Cassie often remarked during their weekly coffee dates at the local cafe. "Working, taking care of Ethan, and growing another human while Jake's schedule is so unpredictable." Emily would smile and shrug. "We make it work. When Jake's home, he's completely present. That matters more than the hours." During her second pregnancy, Emily began to notice subtle changes in Jake's behavior. He became more distant, frequently distracted by his phone, and less engaged during family activities. At first, she attributed his distraction to concerns about her pregnancy. Their first child had come early, with complications that had terrified them both. But this time, her pregnancy had been progressing smoothly. "Everything okay?" she'd ask when catching him staring blankly at the wall during dinner. "Just tired," he'd reply with a quick smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Johnson's out on medical leave, so we're all picking up extra shifts." He started working more overtime, citing staffing shortages at the firehouse. While Emily understood the demands of his job and the brotherhood he shared with his fellow firefighters, she couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The extra money was helpful with a second baby on the way, but Jake's exhaustion was palpable, and their conversations had grown increasingly superficial. At night, Jake would turn away from her in bed, clutching his phone until he fell asleep. When she'd reach for him, he'd mumble about being tired or stressed, leaving Emily feeling increasingly isolated in her pregnancy. "It's probably nothing," she confided to her sister Abby during a phone call. "Pregnancy hormones making me paranoid." "Trust your gut," Abby replied. "Mom always said women know when something's off." One evening in her 6th month of pregnancy, while Jake was in the shower, his phone buzzed with a message notification on the kitchen counter. Emily had never been the type to snoop, believing wholeheartedly in the trust they'd built. But something, intuition or perhaps desperation for answers, made her glance at the screen. The notification showed a message from a contact named Melissa, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Same place as last time." The familiarity of the message sent a jolt through Emily. Her hand instinctively went to her swollen belly as the baby kicked, as if sensing her sudden distress. With trembling fingers, she picked up Jake's phone. To her surprise, it wasn't locked, another change she hadn't noticed. When had he stopped using the fingerprint lock they'd both set up for security? She tapped on the message, and her world collapsed around her. The conversations revealed an ongoing affair between Jake and Melissa, who was identified as a paramedic he frequently worked with. The messages detailed secret meetings during his extra shifts, expressions of passion, and even complaints about his home life. "He's always tired or talking about baby stuff," one message from Jake read. "With you, I remember who I am outside of being someone's husband and father." The timestamps told a devastating story. The affair had been ongoing for nearly 4 months, beginning shortly after they'd learned they were expecting their second child. Images of hotel room numbers, inside jokes, and plans for future meetings scrolled before her eyes. Emily's heart sank as she realized the extent of the betrayal. She set the phone down exactly as she'd found it and moved mechanically to the living room couch. Her mind raced with memories, recalibrating every late night, every distracted conversation, every rejected touch through this new, painful lens. When Jake emerged from the shower, dressed in a fresh button-down shirt and jeans, nicer than his usual after-work attire, Emily watched him from the couch. Heading out, she asked, her voice steadier than she expected. Jake startled slightly. Yeah, got called in. Staffing issues again. That's weird, Emily said, because I just saw a text from Melissa about meeting you, at the same place. The color drained from Jake's face as his hand instinctively reached for his phone. Finding it still on the counter where he'd left it, he looked back at Emily, mouth open but no words emerging. She's a paramedic, right? Emily continued, her hand protectively cradling her stomach. You work with her often. I can explain. I read the messages, Jake. Emily's voice finally cracked. All of them. How could you? While I'm carrying our child. Caught off guard, Jake's carefully constructed facade crumbled. He slumped against the wall, excuses dying on his lips. It just happened, he finally said. The job, you know how intense it gets. Melissa understands the pressure, the stress. We worked these high adrenaline shifts together, and boundaries got blurred. Boundaries got blurred, Emily repeated hollowly. For 4 months. Jake moved toward her, reaching out. I never meant to hurt you. It was a mistake, a stupid, terrible mistake. Emily recoiled from his touch. Don't. Just, don't touch me right now. What can I do? He pleaded. Tell me what I can do to fix this. You can start by calling Melissa and telling her you won't be meeting her tonight or any other night, Emily said, standing with effort. Then you can pack some clothes and stay somewhere else while I figure out what I need to do. Please. I'm pregnant with your child, Jake. Your second child. I need space to think about what's best for us, for them. Feeling an overwhelming sense of betrayal, especially during her vulnerable state, Emily spent the night alone after Jake reluctantly left to stay with his brother. She called her sister Abby, who drove 3 hours to be with her, and reached out to 2 close friends who rushed over with ice cream and tissues. I keep wondering if I missed something, Emily confessed to them as they sat around her kitchen table. If I wasn't attentive enough or if I changed after Ethan was born. Don't you dare blame yourself, Abby said firmly. This is on him, not you. Her friend Rachel nodded in agreement. You've been growing his child while taking care of a toddler and working. He's the one who failed here, not you. The next morning, Emily called her OBGYN to schedule an STD test, a humiliating necessity that brought home the reality of her situation. When Jake texted asking to talk, she replied that she needed a few days and that he should get tested as well. In the following weeks, Emily decided to separate from Jake to gain clarity on the situation and focus on her well-being and that of her children. Jake moved in with his brother temporarily, while Emily's mother came to stay and help with Ethan. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't seen that text, Emily told her therapist during her first session. He was so convincing. Even knowing what I know now, I still almost believe him when he swears it was meaningless. Her therapist, Dr. Winters, nodded. Betrayal trauma is particularly severe because it undermines your ability to trust your own perceptions. You're questioning not just his honesty, but your own judgment. Emily learned that Jake had requested a transfer to a different station, away from Melissa, and had enrolled in a counseling program for first responders. He sent flowers, apologetic messages, and offers to attend couples therapy. Part of me wants to believe he can change, Emily admitted during a coffee with her friend Cassie. For the kids, you know. Cassie squeezed her hand. Whatever you decide, we're all here for you. But remember, staying for the kids only works if there's something healthy to stay for. As her due date approached, Emily allowed Jake to attend doctor's appointments and help prepare for the baby's arrival. They established a tentative co-parenting arrangement, with Jake continuing to live separately but seeing Ethan regularly. Jake attended individual therapy sessions, aiming to understand his actions and work towards self-improvement. The counselor says I used the affair to escape the pressure I felt, he explained during a calm moment after an appointment. Not the job pressure, the pressure I put on myself to be perfect for you and Ethan. Emily nodded, acknowledging his efforts while maintaining her emotional distance. I'm glad you're getting help. I am too. Their daughter, Lily, was born on a crisp autumn morning with Jake present in the delivery room as they'd agreed. As Emily watched him hold their daughter with tears streaming down his face, she felt a complex mix of emotions: love for her children, lingering anger at Jake's betrayal, and uncertainty about their future. During her maternity leave, Emily focused on bonding with Lily and creating stability for Ethan. Jake visited daily, proving himself reliable and attentive with the children. He never pushed for reconciliation but made it clear he hoped for another chance. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you, if you'll let me, he said one evening as he prepared to leave after putting Ethan to bed. Emily watched him carefully. I don't want someone who's with me out of guilt or obligation. That's not what this is, Jake insisted. This is me realizing what I almost threw away. What I did throw away. After 4 months of separation and continued therapy, Emily agreed to couples counseling. The sessions were grueling, unearthing issues they'd both been avoiding for years: Jake's childhood with an alcoholic father who'd abandoned the family, Emily's perfectionism and tendency to suppress her needs, their mutual failure to communicate honestly about their struggles. I wanted to be nothing like my father, Jake admitted during a particularly raw session. So much that I never let myself acknowledge when I was struggling. Showing weakness wasn't an option. Emily realized she'd played a role too. And I never pushed when you said everything was fine, even when I knew it wasn't. I was so afraid of rocking the boat. As spring turned to summer, Jake moved into an apartment just 5 minutes from their house. They established a more formal co-parenting schedule and occasionally spent time together as a family, taking the children to the park or having Sunday dinners. These glimpses of their former life sometimes made Emily waver. When Jake fixed the leaky faucet or made Ethan laugh until he hiccuped or gently rocked Lily to sleep, she could almost imagine a path back to what they'd had. But every time her mind wandered in that direction, the images of those text messages flashed before her eyes. The easy intimacy of "same place as last time." The casual betrayal of "he's always tired." The weeks and months of lies. Despite Jake's consistent efforts to make amends, the trust in their marriage had been fundamentally broken. After 7 months of separation, therapy, and attempted reconciliation, Emily made her decision. I think I've always known, she told Dr. Winters. From the moment I saw those messages. Some things can't be unfelt or unseen. On a warm summer evening, after the children were asleep, Emily sat Jake down on the porch swing they'd once shared so many sunset conversations on. I've decided to file for divorce, she said quietly. I've given this every chance, Jake. We both have. But I can't build a life on a foundation where I'm always wondering, always checking, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Jake's eyes filled with tears, but he nodded slowly. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. You're a good father, Emily continued. That hasn't changed. We'll find a way to co-parent that works for Ethan and Lily. And Melissa? Jake asked hesitantly. That's not my business anymore, Emily replied. But for what it's worth, I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Just be honest about it next time. The divorce proceeded amicably, with both parties prioritizing their children's well-being. Jake stayed in his nearby apartment, maintaining his relationship with the children through regular visitation and shared family events. Emily kept the house, establishing it as a stable home base. The experience taught Emily the importance of trust and open communication in a relationship. She emerged stronger, focusing on her role as a mother and finding solace in the support of her loved ones. She expanded her graphic design business, converting the guest room into a home office that allowed her flexibility with the children's schedules. A year after the divorce was finalized, Emily ran into an old college friend, Michael, at Ethan's soccer game. His daughter played on the same team, and they fell into easy conversation about single parenthood and career juggling. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? Michael asked as they walked to their cars after the game. Emily hesitated only briefly before smiling. I'd like that. But fair warning, my trust bar is set pretty high these days. Michael nodded seriously. As it should be. I'm willing to earn it. As Emily drove home with Ethan chattering about his game in the back seat, she reflected on her journey. The betrayal had broken something fundamental in her, but in healing, she'd discovered a resilience she hadn't known she possessed. The future remained uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, uncertainty felt like possibility rather than threat. Later that evening, as she tucked Ethan into bed, he asked, "Are you and Daddy ever going to live together again?" Emily smoothed his hair back from his forehead. "No, sweetie. But we both love you and Lily very much, and will always be your parents together, even if we live in different houses." "Okay," Ethan said thoughtfully. "Like Mason's parents. He says it's actually pretty cool because he gets 2 bedrooms and double presents." Emily laughed softly. "It's a bit more complicated than that. But we're going to be fine, all of us. Different, but fine." After both children were asleep, Emily sat on her porch with a glass of wine, looking at the stars. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jake, asking to switch weekends due to a work commitment. She replied with a simple, "That works," then set her phone aside. The future wouldn't be what she'd once imagined, but it would be honest. And for now, that was enough.